help Tzu Chi volunteers travel from Taiwan to the Philippines to assist with the upcoming relief distribution and free clinic. We learn how pig waste and environmental pollutant can be transformed into green energy. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Helen Liao. Thank you for joining us to bring the love of Tzu Chi volunteers from around the globe to the disaster survivors in the Philippines. A disaster assessment team made their way to Manila on November 18 to carry out further surveys and also assist with the upcoming distribution and free clinic this weekend. Prior to their trip, Master Chen Yan gave words of encouragement and also reminded the volunteers of the things to focus on when carrying out relief work.
Waiting in line to be checked in, 13 Tzu Chi volunteers are ready to fly to Manila to begin yet another disaster survey and also to assist with the upcoming aid distribution and free clinic come this weekend.
We are bringing Master Zheng Yan's blessings to the disaster survivors, and we hope to pass on the Master's instructions for relief work to our counterparts there.
With love pouring in from far and wide, Tzu Chi volunteers from Malaysia, Taiwan and the United States, who previously participated in large-scale relief work, are now hoping to help those in the Philippines with their considerable experiences. New York Tzu Chi volunteers are also present to reciprocate the love they once received.
全球33个国家在第一个时间就把这个爱。
33 countries worldwide gathered their love for New York in the immediate aftermath of the hurricane last year. This time, we are here with gratitude, and we hope to send our love to soothe the suffering in the Philippines.
The blue and white uniform volunteers are scheduled to fly out on November 18th to bring the love of Tzu Chi volunteers around the globe to those in need.
On Saturday, there will be an aid distribution and free clinic.
Through an internet conference call, Master Zheng Yan gets an update on the current situation in the Philippines. After Typhoon Haiyan wreaked havoc in the Philippines, roads and buildings were left severely damaged. In face of such natural disasters, the Master says hope lies in practicing the Dharma in our daily lives.
道理入心啦，不只是入心，也个会当咧就表达出来，所以叫做转法轮。转无明为清净，转恶业为善业。
At a meeting with senior Tzu Chi volunteers from Taiwan's northern district, the Master calls on everyone to begin fundraising for the disaster survivors. Master Zheng Yan next arrives in Hsinchu for a year-end blessing ceremony and is moved to see the solemn atmosphere at the hosting Jingsi Hall, which is nearing completion.
本来就是那样的美好啊，山河大地啊，都是那样的锦绣山河，都很漂亮。偏偏都是我们人呐，为了贪欲而破坏哈。
It is said that human minds are the cause of the ever-increasing number of natural disasters, and to counteract that, we must give to the needy so society can once again find peace and harmony.
In the United States and Canada, to help the survivors of Typhoon Haiyan in the Philippines, local volunteers held donation boxes to chemists for money outside of shopping malls. And in the Philippines, over 100 volunteers took to the streets to raise funds in hopes of helping disaster survivors return their lives to normal as soon as possible.
With the Filipino government finally granting Tzu Chi volunteers a permit for on-street fundraising, today over 150 Chinese and Filipino volunteers have gathered in Manila to canvass for donations to help those affected by Typhoon Haiyan. Holding their donation boxes, the volunteers walk side by side in Manila's Chinatown to raise funds.
动员了 We have mobilized over 100 volunteers, which include local volunteers from Marikina City and other areas. They're all happy to be helping fundraise for the typhoon survivors.
Seeing the Tzu Chi volunteers dedicating themselves to helping their fellow citizens, local residents stop by to contribute their love. Such kindness and good deeds were also seen at the local traditional market. It's 6 in the morning here at the traditional market in Manila, and Tzu Chi volunteers can already be seen fundraising for Haiyan typhoon survivors. Countless vendors and shoppers contribute their share.
I have been through a similar experience, so I feel that I should help.
A disaster survivor fleeing Tacloban was very touched seeing us fundraise for the affected residents in Tacloban.
Thanks to the assistance of Tzu Chi volunteers in the Philippines, relief items and emotional support will be delivered to the survivors one day sooner. Meanwhile, in the United States, Dallas Tzu Chi volunteers have also been mobilized to raise funds for the Philippines.
For us living in an affluent country like the United States, it is hard to imagine what the disaster victims are experiencing. We hope that everyone can do his or her share to help the less fortunate.
From last week, Dallas Tzu Chi volunteers have already started raising funds in 13 different locations.
They're going to send a lot of stuff to my house, and then we're going to probably do solar trucks. Then we're going to truck to my friends, and then we're going to send everything.
That's great. Thank you for your compassion. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Other than Filipinos, people from different ethnic backgrounds also seize the opportunity to contribute their love on behalf of the survivors.
We are even thanking your group for coming down to Dallas to collect money from us or to collect gift, whatever it is, to give to people in Dallas. And we are praying for them, that God will console them. Thank you very much.
As well, Canada Tzu Chi volunteers also took to the streets to canvass for donations. Their charitable event lasted for 6 days.
In Canada, we have mobilized around 500 volunteers to raise money in 24 different locations in a 6-day fundraising event.
It's a tremendous devastation, but it's tremendous to see people such as the Tzu Chi Foundation who are there bringing rice to those people, helping them with medical supplies, with doctors, to be able to take care of them in the midst of that first crisis period when they are most vulnerable. It's just tremendous looking at the great work that you do around the world.
At the other side of the Pacific, Tzu Chi volunteers will pay the love forward to the disaster survivors in the Philippines on behalf of the residents of North America.
The second overseas volunteer training seminar came to an end this past Sunday. For many overseas volunteers, this trip to Taiwan symbolized their commitment to shouldering the responsibility of upholding Tzu Chi's missions worldwide. Today, let's meet some of these volunteers who overcame personal obstacles to walk the Tzu Chi path.
Coming to Taiwan to get certified as commissioner, Malaysia Tzu Chi volunteer Fan Xuehua was also able to fulfill her sister's dream. Before she left for Taiwan, Fan's mother gave her a red envelope extending her blessings.
I asked my mother why she gave me a red envelope, since it's not the first time I am traveling overseas. She told me it's different as I'm going to see the master.
Fan's sister was the first in her family to join Tzu Chi, but after she left home to become a Buddhist nun, Fan Xuehua continued to actualize her sister's wish. However, as Fan devoted too much time to Tzu Chi work, her husband opposed it at first.
I knelt down and begged him. I don't know how many times I bowed and begged. Then my forehead started to swell up. When he saw how bruised my forehead had gotten, he was shocked.
Eventually moved by his wife's devotion, Fan's husband now helps her recruit more members and practices recycling at his work. Another volunteer, Li Chou-yi, originally signed up to attend the first training seminar, but a misprint of her name on her plane ticket and a lack of willpower delayed her trip to Taiwan. At first she thought perhaps it was for the best, but never did she imagine she would receive so many words of encouragement.
Those brothers and sisters attending the seminar in Banqiao sent me messages via Facebook and told me not to give up. Their encouragement meant a lot to me.
18 years ago, Lin Tian'ai, who studied at the then Tzu College of Nursing, also received her certification this year. I have to say, although the seed in my heart flourished a bit late, it is blossoming now. Lin vows to follow closely in the footsteps of her peers and devote herself to carrying on Tzuji's missions once back home.
The sister told me that when we distribute the cash cards to the recipients, we should bow 90 degrees and say thank you. I wondered to myself then, why do we have to be that depressing? But when I bowed down in that moment, I understood what humility means.
A devout Catholic, it wasn't until Li Cuiping met Tzu Ji that she realized that love doesn't differentiate between religions. Last May, a deadly earthquake struck Italy, and European Tzu Ji volunteers, including Li, immediately crossed borders to care for the disaster survivors.
We were not there to pity them. We have to be grateful to them for giving us an opportunity to learn, and that truly moved me.
It was at a Tzu Ji event where Li was invited to be a German translator that she began her journey on the Tzu Ji path. Li also hopes to translate vegetarian cookbooks into German to inspire more compassionate hearts through vegetarian cooking.
According to research done by Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, there has been a significant increase in global temperatures over the past 30 years. Among the causes that contribute to global warming is the methane produced by animal waste. To slow the pace of global warming, Taiwan's Bureau of Energy has joined hands with pig farmers across the island to turn pig waste into biogas. Unlike the usual pig farms, over here, pigs go to a specific spot to go to the bathroom.
In the past, hog waste was considered as an environmental pollutant. However, studies suggest that it is actually very useful. Let's take this pig farm as an example. To make sure these animals' living environment is clean, waste is collected at a specific location. Next, the waste is used to generate electricity.
In general, pig manure is known to be an environmental pollutant. However, at this pig farm, the manure is seen as gold. To turn pig waste into renewable energy, it has to go through this giant cement structure. This cement structure is actually an anaerobic lagoon. Inside the structure, the manure is stored according to date. As there is limited contact with the air, the waste passes through an anaerobic state and fermentation before releasing biogas.
All of the pig waste is collected here. The liquid and solid parts are stored separately. The liquid will be stored here for 24 hours before it gets sucked out from the pipe here. When the waste goes into an anaerobic state, it will produce large amount of methane. After desulfurization, 55 to 60% of the methane left can be used to generate electricity.
More than 20 years ago, the Council of Agriculture tried to generate electricity from pig waste. However, missing the step of desulfurization, the plan was a failure.
Before the water vapor would get trapped around here, I had to redesign everything. My success comes from failure because nobody around us really knows how to do it.
In the summer, Sue uses a water curtain to keep the farm cool and a heater in the winter to keep piglets warm. In total, the electricity bill at this farm can reach nearly $12,000 per month. To save on electricity, Sud purchased 3 biogas generators.
If everything works properly, we can save about $10,000 per month. Pig waste can produce a significant amount of methane. It is very wasteful and harmful to our environment if we don't make good use of it. We can reduce the burden on our Mother Earth by turning pig waste, a pollutant, into green energy.
Other than safeguarding the planet, Sue says in the future, biogas can possibly cover all his electricity costs.
Let's use pig waste from 1,000 pigs as an example. We can save about $5,300 per year on electricity, $12,300 on heat, and reduce CO2 emission by 1,000 tons. This doesn't even include the organic fertilizers that pig waste produces and the manure that can be recycled.
To help individual farmers process pig waste, the Dongluo Innovation and Research Park was established in Zhanghua County. Without proper management, methane produced by pig waste will speed up global warming. According to the IPCC, human influence is the major cause of global warming. Thus, all of us should act now to reduce our carbon footprints and slow the pace of global warming.
Many people shy away from the subject of math, but did you know our lives are full of mathematics? However, gaining an interest in the subject should start from young. The Xingya Junior High math teachers use card tricks to spark students' interest in the subject.
This is not your typical math lesson.
Please steal the cards for me. Now pick up the top card, show it to your classmates. Don't let me see it. Don't hold back and knock the cards out of my hand. There's one left. Maybe this is your card. What suit was your card? Clubs, are you sure? King of clubs, thank you.
How did the teacher do it? Students are filled with awe at the card trick. But behind the trick, it is actually math concepts that are the secret.
When he was dealing, I picked the 26th card to memorize, only the 26th card. He stopped on this card, so I don't know how many he will deal out, so that number is X.
The X is the variable in an algebraic equation. Card tricks bring students from something tangible into the abstract world of algebra.
So what about my card? From here to the rest is 26 minus X. So adding these two numbers together equals 26.
Card tricks add an element of fun into an otherwise monotonous math lesson.
Using card tricks to learn about math gives us more hands-on learning and exposure to different ideas. It is like the rules of a game. In learning the rules of how to play, the students are introduced to math concepts, and while playing, they find fun in math.
Did you know high heels are math-related as well? Mathematics column writer Lai Yiwei shows how one is able to use math to look better.
She is around 160 centimeters, so her leg-to-body ratio is about 1.68. However, if she wears 10 centimeters heels, this will increase her height to 170 and divide that by 105. We get a number of 1.619, much closer to the ideal number of 1.618. For instance, how best to hold an umbrella when it rains. Things such as these are very much math-related.
It is proven that when adults find joy in something, it is passed on to their children. So of course the same can be said for the subject of math. Back in the classroom, by studying number sequences, every student can foretell the future.
The next card is a black-suited card. It's four of spades. Now to reveal my prediction, four of spades.
This lesson is not about teaching students how to perform card tricks, but about a rhythmic sequence, where cards are laid out according to suits and increases in counts of 3.
In mathematics, this is known as a sequence or sequential pattern, and the difference between the numbers is called what sequence do you know? Yes, arithmetic sequence. Maybe after seeing these tricks, students' interest in this lesson will increase, and through understanding actual concepts and ideas, we can move on to abstract theories.
Card tricks as math lessons are definitely appealing to children, as how a student gets to know a subject can help or hinder their interest.
Card tricks are rooted in patterns. If we can grasp those patterns, then we can solve the trick.
When students understand these concepts, they will see the fun behind the mysterious world of mathematics.
On November 17th, team of doctors and volunteers visited Gongliao district in New Taipei City to hold a free clinic for local residents. After the free clinic, doctors also carried out home visitations for seniors who are not able to leave the house.
The sun is just rising, but team of doctors and volunteers have already arrived at Gongliao district in New Taipei City, Taiwan. Volunteers quickly set up the free clinic inside an elementary school, while seniors wait patiently to be seen. Overall, 85 medical staff members joined this event, with each doctor bringing a special touch.
I will bring medication that works well with me. Although the free clinic has good general medicine, sometimes specific ones are not available. So the ones I use most often in my own clinic, I will bring.
Tima doctors also took the opportunity to visit the elderly who could not make it out of the house. Even after surgery, the senior's arm continues to hurt. It seems the grandmother has not been taking her medicine correctly.
She has a lot of medication left, and some should have been taken at regular intervals. So I think she didn't take them correctly, so the number of pills is not right. We will check to make sure she is taking the right amount of medication.
The love and care team of doctors show is clearly conveyed through the thoroughness of their care for patients.
Tzu Chi volunteers from Durban, South Africa periodically cross borders into Swaziland to accompany their peers on home visitations and caring for the sick and suffering. This time around, volunteers brought bags of rice from Taiwan, their cheerful songs and warm greeting, which bring comfort to those in despair.
Local volunteers from Durban, South Africa once again crossed borders into Swaziland to accompany their peers. Their joyous singing brings life to this desolate land. Even this man in the wheelchair wanted to dance to the music. Believing that happiness is contagious, volunteers visited 3 villages over 4 days to distribute rice from Taiwan and extend their care. Volunteers once again arrive at Eliza's home. No longer feeble and frail, Eliza can now look after herself and has even become a volunteer. This man always rejected visitors, but this time he finally welcomed the volunteers into his home and his heart. The average life expectancy in Swaziland is 31 years old, and 1 out of every 4 people is infected with HIV/AIDS. Seeing the helplessness and despair of the people, local volunteers from Durban try their best to help. Although not of the same nationality or race, a warm smile melts all differences and brings hearts closer together. Their love is like a stream of purity, bringing nourishment to the land. Through selfless giving, these volunteers have learned to cherish their own blessings.
We go back to Taiwan at the end of the show to help those affected by Typhoon Haiyan in the Philippines. 2 military transport aircrafts loaded with approximately 14 tons of Tzu Chi's instant rice and other relief items took off at the Pingdong Military Air Base on November 19th. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for watching DaAi Headline.